Hello everyone, welcome to yet another Linux command line video, and this time we are on the topic of archiving. So I'm sure you're already familiar with the ideas of what the archive is. So basically it's the process of usually combining multiple files into a single file. Or you probably heard of backups, which is quite distinct and different between the two. You know, backup is a process of creating copies of the same files or folders for the restoration purposes, whereas the archive is used for transferring data or files or folder directory into elsewhere. And when you do that, you're gonna be transferring tons and tons of files. So a convenient way to do this is through the method of archiving those files. So now we are going to talk about more on this later, but first let's just get straight into the first one, which is going to be tar. So tar in this case is used, which is first of all stands for the tape archive, which obviously it means tape archive is to archive files and files and data into a single folder. So we're combining many files or directories or folder, you call it folders, into a single file. So to use that, you need a tar, not capital letter, just tar, that, and then use -cvf. Now C is stand for combine, and B stands for verbal, which you already know what that is, and F is stand for specific file name. So you want to have files here, you're going to add your specific file name. So your file names is going to be a new one you will create. So the file that we are going to combine this into. So I'm going to name, for the purposes, I'm just going to name this file 1, like that. So file 1, or just my files, like that. And then you put dot and then tar for the extensions, and then you put your file. So let's say I want to combine like file A, file B. So like file A.txt, file B .txt, and then directory 1 and directory 2. Oh, sorry. Directory 1 and directory 2. Now you do that, and when you ls again, you will see a new particular file which is called my file, tar. And you can just see high size here, which about 10,000 byte, which is not too bad, I guess. And considering this file, I don't think this file is empty. Now let's see if this even work or not. Now, one test is out by extracting the file back. So as you know, I'm familiar with the method of extracting. Basically, you lay out all the files to its original state. So to do that, you're going to need to do the similar command, which is tar, but then you use xvf, which stands for extracts for some reason, and vf, of course, use the appropriate meanings. Okay, so you do that, and then you will put your files names on it. But first, since when we extract the files, you're gonna need to delete this one first, so it's not overwriting. So I'm gonna delete this one, my file here. So I'm going to file ones. Let's say files A, file B's. Sorry, put the names on it. File B's.txt. There you go. ls again. See if files is gone. I also want to delete this directory also, and directory is which is /r for directory. So directory 1 and directory 2. There you go. Let's again, the files are gone. So now I'm gonna lay out my files here. Extract my files. Do that. You need the tars and an x. Okay, can't type apparently. X and my file names, which is my files dot tar, which is the combined files. Just gonna do that and then click enters. Boom. And then when you ls again, you will see that your file is now extracted. Alright, so you see here directory 1 to A and file B. So that worked. Okay. But as you can see though, the file is still a bit large for my liking. So this is not a very conventional way to do this. So you not only need to combine the files, but the process also requires you to compress the files in order to reduce the size, of course. So to compress, there are a couple ways to do this. But first of all, first way is going to be zip, which you're already kind of familiar with if you're using Windows. So you have zip.raw, stuff like that. So zip, also in Linux, to use it, you need to use a command zip. But for zip, this one, not only does it combine, but also compress. So it's more combined and compressed in one step. So to do this, obviously inconvenience. So obviously you zip and then /r for recursive for file directory. So use directory, use r, and then my file. So now I'm going to do this again, but obviously it's not going to write, so you can still keep the original files. So /r, and then I'm going to put my file. So my files. So I'm going to put my file too. So this time my file doesn't have s on it. So and then dot zip, of course, and then your file name. So file a dot txt, of course it's text file, of course, and b.txt, and then and then directory 1, directory 2, stuff like that. So when you do that, click enters. There you go. Store 0%. Okay, that seems like it's doing job, I guess. Okay, now I'll do ls again. See new files, which is called my file zip. Now this time it's only 452. Now that is because we compress, right? But this one is not only does it combine, but also compress the file. So now it's 452 byte. So that is quite an improvement to earlier, and it's also more convenient because you do the two-step at once. Okay, now for the next one, it's going to be gzip. Now gzip, quite similar. So to run this, you need to use compress. Now gzip can only compress the file, so it cannot combine, unlike the zip. So, but the difference is the size. So gzip, if you want gzip, so our file here, you see the 452. Now we use gzip. So could you use gzip for the compress commands? You use g and then zip, of course, and then same as always, you put /r for the directory for the files. So I'm going to combine a file. So since we only combine the files, so let's say you combine file 1. I'll say file a, file a.txt, file b.txt, directory 1, and directory 2, stuff like that. And use ls again. You see your files here. So wizard files, gonna combine, compress the file. So you see now that our files has been compressed it. Now you see the earliest size, which is directory 16. These file A and file B here, you see the original one has 0 and 0. This time has 30s. And that was quite weird because the files were empty, so that's quite a real glitch there. So to reverse the action back, so you need to unzip this. So to unzip this one, you need a command for G and then unzip. Okay, very convenient. And then use // again, and then you put the files again. So first time is file 1, A, that's txt, file B, that's txt, directory 1, and directory 2. Now you unzip again. Let's see if the file stays same or not. Now it revert back to earlier, which is 30 and 00. So that was quite even. So even though you did compress it, but the file was empty and it still has a fixed size, which is just 30. Let's say you want to write something on it. So I will write something on it first. But anyway, you will notice that this one only used for the compress. So to combine, you obviously need to use the method earlier, which is tar, for example tar. You use that for combine first, and then you compress it later. So to do this one, how to do is use tar again, this command tar, and then use the early command, which is cvf, to combine our file. So this time I'm going to name my files to, or let's say t, okay, and then tar, and then you put the file names on it, which is I think it's file B. Obviously there's only one file there. txt, file B, txt, directory 1, and directory 2. Okay. With that, now you combine the file now. This time you see new files here, which is t here. Now you see these two same side because we use the same methods. Okay, now I'm going to compress the file. So this time to use the compressed files, use the for the method gzip, use gzip just like so, and then that's r, okay, r's, and then files name. So my files earlier, you don't need to do for every single file in the directory because you already combined the files. So since the files already combining, just put the names on it, just files t.tr. Okay, now you just enter that, and now you see that your files is going to be compressed. So now you see that now my file tr_zip is going to be compressed. You see that now the size is 176. So that quite an increase, decrease to this size here, which is about 10,000 byte. Now the other way is using bzip2. Now bzip2s, just like the previous one, can only compress the files. So as earlier, you need to use tar. Okay, so this time I'm going to combine two files. First of all, let me use this one. Okay, and then combine two files, tar, and then combine two files, which is the same earlier, command cvf, and then combine files. So I'm going to file 1, file A, txt, and then I forgot to put the file name. So this time I'm gonna put my file name. So let's say this one stands for B, so let's say my files B, just like that. And then put tars, you put the file names on it, which is file A, that's txt, file B, that's txt, just like that. And also a reminder that this one, for bzip2, cannot use with directory, so it's only can be used with files. So now we only need files here, so I'm going to break up these two files here. That's why I do it. Inserts, and then you combine two files. Now until you get the files, combine it into a new file we call file b.tar. And now I'm gonna compress it using the bzip2 method, and the command line for this is the bzip2 and then your file name. So but this time you cannot just use files like that, because actually I'm pretty sure you can use this. So let's test it out. So bzip, so the bzip2 and then your file name. So basically my file names here is going to be my files, my files B, and then now tar, of course, and it enters, and we zip. Now let's and you see file B here is with 140. Now what's the difference between that and the early one? So this one is 140 and this one is 176, which use the gzip. So that's it's different, and different I guess. And so the better way is to just use the bzip2, which of course, because it's, I mean, it does slightly better job, but just that it can't use with directory. So that's quite unfortunate. But it really depends on the file. So finally, as you can see, to use these two methods, which is gzip and bzip, we need to use it with tar, and then you run commands 2 times. So, but there is another way to do this, which is only run it 1 time. So you can obviously do that. Instead of running it again and again, you can just write it at 1. So let's say I want to combine the tar, and I want to use it tar with a compression method, and I want to use the bzip2. Now the bzip2, you want to use command tar again, and then to both combine and compress the files using the bzip2, you do C and then JVF. So run that last time, okay? So and then you files on. So files, I'm going to make a new files here. Okay, I don't know why, but A. So my files, A here, and then you want to put your extensions. The extension tar, and then dot, because this time we both combine and compress the file. So dot bz2 for the method to use, which is bzip2, and then you put the file name. So file A that's txt, file B, okay, I have brain damage, that's txt. Okay, now you combine the two, and there you go. And now we're just combining the two successfully. So you see now that the file here, so where's it? Here you go. File A is arguably the same size as the last one. So that is quite useful. And same with the bzip. We use the same command, slightly the same command. So tar to both compress and combine it. So tar C, and then this time Z, VF, and then you put your names on this one, and names my files C, stuff like that, and then put tar on it, and then combine this. Now you can just, instead of write tar and then GZ, you can just use tar T here and then GZ like that. This is for which stand for tars, and then gzip. Now same with this one, you just use tar, and then you can just write a tbz2. Okay, similar way. This one's going to tar, and then file name A that's txt, file B dot txt, and this works the same way. That's, and you see now it's zipping. So this one using the gzip have 131, but using the bz2 is 140. Hey, that wasn't quite right. Let's combine it again. So tar C Z F, my files my files C, actually does this time for C like that, and then tar, oops, just use this tar, and then G zip2. As you can see here, the only difference is the size. To unzip it back, I'm gonna delete this first though. So RMs, files A, txt, file B, txt, RMs, recursive, and then directory 1, and directory 2. There you go. Now you unzip it again. Actually, first of all, say for gzip, or it's just tar again. Actually, tar alias, and then x, say JVF, and then we just Z, of course, simply extract, and then chase with F, and then to put your names on it, which is I'm gonna find which one I use gzip on. So .gzip to this one. So my files c tar dot gzip, and then that actually, hold on. Oh, actually, I got it messed up. So I got it all the way around. So basically, your gzip is tar, and then slash xcf. So for gzip it's z, and then for b2zip it's going to be j. Okay, and your files names. So this one is my files c tar, and then Jesus Christ. Okay, there we are. There you go. And now this, and you see now the files unzip. So file A and file B. Okay. Also, in the case that you don't actually you don't forget what the files is used with. So basically, what method it was compressed with. So you can actually check that by go files, and then say files. Let's say my files. C, something like that, and tz. There you go. So this one is going to set gzip compressed file. Okay, and if like this, for example, let's say files, my files .zip, and obviously it's going to say zip archive file. Okay, so that is it, I guess.